Shooting film can be kind of scary, especially in a high-stress situation like a wedding. But in this video, it's not going to be a long video. It's going to be kind of a short video. But I want to break down a couple of things that I do to, one, help you shoot like film and start to shoot film within like weddings and everything else. But two, how to shoot good photos, because there's a big difference between shooting like photos and shooting good photos that are like framed well and everything else in a wedding where you have like 2 seconds to get the shot. Traditionally, with digital cameras, you can kind of take the spray and pray approach, meaning that you can take like thousands of images, and within those thousands of images, you're bound to get something good. With film, you have to, especially with a manual camera, which is what I use for film photography, mostly just because I like the flexibility and the ability to control every aspect of the camera, but with those, the big downside is it takes time. You have to really be deliberate on your exposure, your focus. The camera's not going to help you in anything. You might get lucky and have a light meter, which mine actually does. But even then, you still have to set everything. You have to set the exposure, you have to set the focus. Especially when you're new, it can be really, really stressful because you're not going to be super fast. And in a wedding where like things are happening like that, you don't really have the luxury of time. The past couple of weddings we shot that were just photo, I deliberately shot just solely 100% film. I didn't shoot any digital. I maybe shot a couple of digital photos during the ceremony just so we could have like the really tight 70-200 like look. But other than that, I shot the entire thing on film. And I would use one or two rolls, and that was really deliberate. I really wanted to get good at shooting film photos, and also if we're doing like, in my opinion, the whole purpose of having a second shooter is to get creative, and film just adds another level of having like a creative different angle that Savannah or the first shooter can't really get. For the tips, it's only really going to be a couple of things that are just going to help set. It'll just help you snap a picture quickly. The first thing is going to be, I really try to, if like I know like we're taking a picture of like a subject like with window lighting or something like that, I'll typically put my hand in front of where the subject's going to be and get at least the exposure right. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get the focus because it depends on where they're going to be standing, but I'll at least get the exposure in the approximate right range just by holding my hand up and acting like my hand is the subject's face. That honestly really helps save a lot of time, especially when I was learning and I was still a little slower to getting exposure. That way, all I have to worry about is just getting the subject in focus, and my eye doesn't have to leave the viewfinder. With the exposure, typically your eye has to pull away and set your aperture, and then bring it back, set the aperture, maybe set the set the shutter speed. And the act of pulling your eye away from the camera and then putting it back on the camera, but it can take a lot more time versus just rolling a subject into focus. This wedding also has a coffee bar, like a mobile coffee bar. It's really, really good coffee. California coffee hits different than any other kind of coffee that I've ever had. Anyway, the second point is going to be not trying to flip back and forth between digital and film photography. It really has like uses two different parts of your brain, and the exposure and the entire approach is completely different. And if you can just dedicate yourself, even for a portion of it, to one or the other, it's going to really speed your process up because you're not having to mentally like flip a switch back and forth. I think the final little tip is just going to be just do it. Like, the more you practice, the more that you do it, the better and more comfortable and more confident you're going to feel. Just like when you started taking pictures originally, it was very scary. Like, you really didn't know what to do, especially posing people. Maybe you didn't know how to pose people right. And if you do it, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, and the faster you get with doing it. This is also the next day. It's not the same day. You probably put that together though. All right. I'm gonna call the video here. Sorry it was so short. I just I wasn't gonna make a video, but I ended up deciding to because I thought the subject matter was important. Are you kidding me with this? Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow.